Hey everyone, welcome back to HD Reddit Reads. Today's topic is, what's your biggest regret from your teenage years? Let's get into it. I didn't stand up for myself enough. I'm too worried about how other people will react if I say no or refuse to do something. So determined to impress my classmates that I would stretch the truth so I could brag about myself. Now I realize most of them saw through it. If I could only go back, I'll slap some duct tape across my younger me's mouth. I spent so much time waiting for something to happen, like sitting on the steps outside of a house waiting for something to happen. Hanging out with people I did not really like waiting for something to happen. I feel like so much time was wasted waiting for something to happen, instead of doing something or making things happen. I wish I had taken Mom up on her offer to teach me how to cook those teenage years. It would have been so helpful both during college and beyond. It was a missed opportunity because she's a great cook and a natural teacher. Copying my response from a previous thread. I wore a fedora to prom, and prior to prom, I had asked someone out and took the rejection really badly. Said a lot of stupid shit on social media and acted out when I was asked about it. Also, back when it was a thing to add random people on Facebook, I used to post all sorts of corny white knight one-liners. When I was 14, I poured ketchup on the back of the porch and laid down with my head right next to it as my mom came home from work. She came outside screaming and I laughed. She beat me with her shoe and I was grounded for the weekend. Now that I am a parent, I realize what a dick effing move it was and the terror she felt. LOL, I was changing my mom's oil once and found this old rubber eyeball from some Halloween party we'd been to in the glove box. It was super realistic looking. I came inside going like, ow, and holding my eye. My mom was like, what happened? And I suddenly opened my other palm with the fake eye. She flips the F out. I laugh and throw the rubber eye at her. She looks confused, then furious, and starts hitting me with an oven mitt, while my sister is falling off the couch laughing. Another time we were shopping at this discount grocery store, and she found this gallon jug of Ernst and Julio Gallo wine on sale. She's like, oh, this is great cooking wine, and puts it in the cart. We get to the check stand, and the checker scans the wine, and I blurt out, Mom, are you coming home tonight? My mom looks at me horrified. The checker looks at me horrified. My sister, without skipping a beat, says, with a completely straight face, the neighbors are starting to ask some embarrassing questions. Sis and I didn't even plan this. We're just that good. Cliche, but I lost a lot of friends due to excessive online gaming. I kept refusing to go out with them and socializing in general. Plus, when college hit, I didn't know how to talk to people and how to make friends. Ongoing process. Cowardice. I was so unsure of myself and awkward. I know that all teenagers struggle with this, but as I look back, now from my 40s, that kid in high school had so much going for him, he just didn't know it. And the more he cared about fitting in, the less he fit in, and the worse people treated him. Girls were like an alien species, and the future was terrifying. But it didn't have to be. Still a teen, but I wish I focused less on isolating myself early on in high school and being a loner, with a me versus them mentality. I've stunted myself socially and dug myself into a hole. To be fair, a lot of it stemmed from mental health issues and unresolved trauma, but I was also stubborn as hell and waited way too long to seek help and grow past all of it. Breaking up with the nicest guy halfway through the final year of school. I regret breaking up with him in general, but also it ruined what should have been an epic time of our life. Since we all had friends in common, it just sucked. Lots of awkward behavior at parties, drunken yelling, crying, and that's just what he was doing, never mind me. Word of advice, don't date within your friend group. Friends of friends are fine, but dating within a core group will tear it apart. Honestly, being more proactive on my education. I had gotten a scholarship, but I thought getting scholarships were pathetic, and was so prideful about it. I didn't know shit back then, but I'm kicking myself now with so much money I put in when I look at my 1098-T, tuition forms for the government. I started playing online games and waste time on YouTube/other platforms when I was a teenager, and I keep wasting my life there. I want to spend less time with a computer, do stuff IRL, but I don't know how to get rid of this addiction. Being in a long-term relationship. I wish I was single and partied and effed around. Instead, I wasted my time with my ex and never dated other guys when I was younger. I wasn't in a long-term relationship, I just didn't date. For a long time I was just not interested, But now I've hit an age where all my friends are occupied with their adult lives and relationships, and I've got no one, and loneliness is creeping in. I wish I had attempted to date earlier in my life, so I could have some base social skills in that area. I have no idea where to begin, and I feel like at my age, potential dates aren't going to want to deal with someone who's trying to learn the ropes of relationships. I wish I had taken more risks. I worried about getting in trouble too much. I missed out on some fun because of that, and tried to play ketchup when I was 19, which led to me going a bit too hard through my 20s. I'm okay now, successful and doing well, but there's a lot of things I did in my 20s that I might not have done had I gotten out of my system in my teens. I'm just lucky things turned out okay for me. 31 now. When I was a teen, I was bullied for having epilepsy. Kids tried to make me have seizures and tried to push me downstairs. One day I was eating lunch alone. The lunchroom had over 100 students, and 4 boys were laughing and throwing food at me. I snapped. I walked up and asked who's throwing the food, and they all just laughed and pointed at this guy named Robert. So I picked up his banana peel and stabbed his face with it over and over. I broke his glasses in the process. The boys grabbed me as I kicked and started beating the hell out of them. P.S. I have PTSD from my childhood, so it came out during the fight, which made me lose myself. All the boys were on the floor, and I was crying as I walked away. As I did, other students backed away from me. A teacher I really liked grabbed me, and she tried to speak to me. All I did was push her then, and I realized it was her, and she was pregnant. I kept walking as I cried, and a little kid was staring at me, so I yelled, "What are you looking at?" and I slapped him in the face. I literally walked off school campus as the principal followed me, trying to pick me up and bring me back to school as I screamed at him to leave me alone. After a while, he got me back to school. I was crying in the principal's office because I realized I lost control. I didn't get in trouble, and the school never called my mom. The next day at school, no one effed with me, and they gave me a nickname, Smackdown. Later, I found out Robert never threw the food. Robert, if you ever read this, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And to the teacher I pushed, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you, and if I did, I am sorry, and I hope your child is living a happy life. I feel like I should be in jail, and I would happily go if that's what they wanted. I'm too ashamed to contact them, and I don't want to hurt them emotionally either. Oh man, I have so many. Allowing my abusive stepmother to isolate me from the other side of my family, acting like a psycho, nice guy, to the girl I had a crush on. Staying in an unhealthy relationship for a couple of years too long. Hiding on my computer all day instead of being social. Not coming out and transitioning earlier even though I knew I should. My teen years really sucked, and I got so depressed over my parents telling me that they were the best years of my life. I'm 30 now, and life is 1,000 times better. Being the secret side piece for the popular guy in high school. I was an outcast and I didn't have a lot of friends. He was a star football player and everybody wanted him. He was in my algebra class. He asked for my number on a note. I was super naive. He only ever wanted sex. We would either meet up somewhere at night or he'd come to my house when my mother wasn't home. We would quickly do it and then he'd leave quickly. And then he would pretend not to know me at school. Worst decision ever. I am just transitioning into my adult years now, turning 20 this year. I know I'm still young, but this is a decision I made about 3 years ago and I think about it every damn day. It haunts me. I grew up with this girl named Sydney. She was, and still, is an absolute dime. Anyway, she had a massive crush on me from elementary school all the way up to high school. One day, junior year of high school, she invites me over to her house to watch movies. Up until after this night, we were always just very close friends. We talked nightly and always met up in school. This night kicked off our relationship. We went to parties and just had a great time together. We were dating all of 2017. 2017 was such a great year for me. I was at an emotional high, felt unstoppable. Fast forward the very end of summer, like 2 weeks before senior year starts, I'm working on my car, diagnosing a problem, and she calls me with plans for tonight. I say something along the lines of, "Yeah, sounds great, I'll meet you at your place." Hour goes by and I'm still working on this car. About 2 hours later, I still am tracing this problem. Towards the end, our relationship had other small problems that bugged her, and now I admit also bugged me. I always played everything cool, never was the worried type. Anyway, she called me breaking down, saying how this is the last straw. She's crying and can barely speak, saying how she doesn't want it to go down like this, but it did. She broke up with me. Not being the worried kid, I blew it off and kept working on my car. School starts. I see her. We had study hall together. I get home, think about what I wasted. I have just thrown out the most beautiful and real girl I have ever met. I get launched into a deep depression. I was a laughing, fun type of kid, but I became an empty shell. I didn't talk, never smiled. To this day, it's kind of the same. At work, I'm the happiest, and second I get home, I lose all motivation and lay down and think. As of late, I've been losing my mind thinking of what could have been. I've seen her since we've graduated. She's gorgeous. She's moved about 2 hours away to attend college while I'm in our hometown working at an arguably good HVAC job. But to me, it's just a job. I feel hopeless and empty. I've gotten better, but I'm not the same. All I wonder is if she thinks of me. We were friends from 3rd grade until we graduated. After we graduated, I've seen her once. I haven't been in another relationship since then. I've had things with girls, but I end up somehow hurting their feelings in some way, so now I just prefer to be alone. This is the first time I've admitted this. I've considered seeing a therapist. My family doesn't know this is why I've been so quiet and empty. No one does. To anyone who read the whole thing, thank you. Sorry for making your feed depressing. Thank you for listening, everyone. If you enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing. It'll be greatly appreciated. And if you want to visit the original thread, I'll link it in the description. But yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one.